Trump injured in shooting at Pennsylvania rally that left at least one dead. CNN. Updated 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, Saturday, July 13, 2024. Former President Donald Trump was injured in a shooting Saturday evening during his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. A gunman and at least one audience member are dead, the Secret Service said, and 2 other attendees are critically injured. Trump said on social media that he was shot and hit by a bullet in the upper part of my right ear. The Secret Service said the former president is safe after he was rushed off the rally stage with blood on his face. A spokesperson said Trump is fine after the heinous act. The Secret Service said the shooter fired multiple shots from an elevated position outside of the Trump rally before he was killed by agents. Law enforcement sources told CNN the shooter was on a building rooftop just outside the rally venue. The shooting is being investigated as an attempted assassination, according to law enforcement officials. President Joe Biden denounced the violence in remarks Saturday night and said in a statement earlier that he's grateful Trump is safe. Biden returning to White House earlier than planned. President Joe Biden will return to the White House from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, earlier than planned, according to a statement from White House officials. Biden is scheduled to arrive at the White House at 12:30 a.m. Sunday, the statement said. He was originally scheduled to stay in Delaware until Monday and fly directly to Texas for events. Eyewitness tells BBC he saw a gunman climbing up building with rifle, tried to warn police. We noticed the guy bear crawling, up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us, the witness told BBC News on Saturday after the incident. We're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof. We can clearly see him with a rifle, he said. He added that they notified police in the vicinity and that officers didn't know what was going on. I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes, Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn, I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this, and next thing you know, 5 shots ring out, he said.
Take a look what happened.
CNN cannot independently verify his account. John Miller, CNN chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, said the testimony raises many serious questions. There's going to be an extraordinarily, excruciatingly detailed examination about who knew what, how was this communicated, and who determined to take what action or not take what action, he said. Advisors to former President Trump say he is doing well, and looks forward to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee next week. Here's the full statement from campaign senior advisors Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita, RNC Chair Michael Whatley and RNC co-chair Lara Trump. As was communicated earlier this evening, President Trump is doing well and grateful to law enforcement and first responders for their fast action. President Trump looks forward to joining you all in Milwaukee as we proceed with our convention to nominate him to serve as the 47th President of the United States. As our party's nominee, President Trump will continue to share his vision to make America great again. A law enforcement source and a police officer at the scene told CNN the shooter was positioned on a building rooftop just outside the venue where former President Donald Trump was holding his rally. The source said the building was the same one where CNN observed a heavy police presence. The building is positioned over where the former president's right shoulder was during the rally. President Joe Biden's chief of staff sent a brief note to White House staff Saturday evening, saying the president is closely tracking the situation around the shooting at Donald Trump's rally, according to the note obtained by CNN. White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients also shared with his team the brief statement Biden sent earlier in the evening. Hi team, I wanted to share President Biden's statement on the shooting that occurred today. The president is tracking this closely and will continue to provide updates, Zients said. President Biden's statement, included in the brief note, said, "I have been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally, as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it." International support for Trump pours in after Pennsylvania rally shooting. From CNN staff. International leaders are writing messages of support on social media after former President Donald Trump was injured at a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. "Sarah and I were shocked by the apparent attack on President Trump. We pray for his safety and speedy." Honduran President Xiomara Castro de Zelaya. "Violence generates more violence. I am sorry for what is happening in the United States electoral process. My solidarity with @real Donald Trump." Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. "My thoughts and prayers are with President @real Donald Trump in these dark hours." The UK Prime Minister's office. "We are shocked by the scenes at President Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. We condemn all forms of political violence in the strongest terms and we send our best wishes to President Trump and his family at this time." Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. "We must stand firm against any form of violence that challenges democracy. I pray for former President Trump's speedy recovery." EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell Fontelles. "Shocked by the news of the attack on President Trump, which I strongly condemn. Once again, we are witnessing unacceptable acts of violence against political representatives." House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer said he has contacted the Secret Service for a briefing and is calling on Director Kimberly Cheadle to appear for a hearing. The Oversight Committee will send a formal invitation soon, Comer said in a statement Saturday night. "I thank the brave Secret Service members who put their lives at risk to protect President Trump and for the American patriots in the audience who helped innocent victims," the Kentucky Republican said. "Political violence in all forms is un-American and unacceptable. There are many questions and Americans demand answers." Secretary of State Antony Blinken said he is shocked and saddened by the shooting at former President Trump's rally and grateful that he is safe. As POTUS said, "There is no place for political violence in America and we must all condemn it," Blinken posted on X Saturday. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas condemned Saturday's shooting at the Trump rally and said the agency, which includes the U.S. Secret Service, is working to ensure the safety of President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Mayorkas, who has been briefing Biden, said in a statement, "We condemn this violence in the strongest possible terms and commend the Secret Service for their swift action today. We are engaged with President Biden, former President Trump, and their campaigns, and are taking every possible measure to ensure their safety and security." Republican National Convention will proceed on schedule, official says. From CNN's Jeff Zellini. The Republican National Convention will open Monday as scheduled, a party official said. The shooting at Donald Trump's rally Saturday night will not alter plans to formally nominate the former president in Milwaukee. The convention will continue as planned, a senior Republican official told CNN Saturday night. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said Saturday that the entire Defense Department condemns this violence, which has absolutely no place in our democracy, following a shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. "This is not the way that we resolve our differences in America, and it must never be," he said in a statement posted on X. "I'm relieved that reports indicate former President Trump is safe, and I am praying for him and his family and everyone affected by this appalling incident." The mood inside the White House is shock, as officials responded to the shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally Saturday afternoon, according to a senior administration official. "It is just really horrible," the official said, adding that authorities sought to be responsive and serious. "It should never happen. It's unconscionable," they told CNN. Speaking from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware on Saturday evening, President Joe Biden blasted political violence, telling reporters, "There is no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick, it's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this." Biden said he's been trying to get in touch with Trump. CNN previously reported that only minutes after the shooting, Biden campaign officials huddled and decided to cease outbound communications as well as pull television ads. One rally attendee is dead and 2 are critically injured after a shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, on Saturday night, according to Anthony Guglielmi, Chief of Communications for the U.S. Secret Service. The shooter is also deceased, Guglielmi said in a statement. Earlier, the agency said the shooter had fired multiple shots from an elevated position outside the rally before Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter. Former President Trump's daughter Ivanka has released a statement on X, thanking law enforcement for their swift response. "Thank you for your love and prayers for my father and for the other victims of today's senseless violence in Butler, Pennsylvania. I am grateful to the Secret Service and all the other law enforcement officers for their quick and decisive actions today. I continue to pray for our country. I love you, Dad, today and always," she wrote. In a statement on Truth Social earlier, the former president said he'd been shot and hit by a bullet in the upper part of his right ear, and extended his condolences to the rally attendee who was killed. Heavy police presence around building next to rally venue. There is a clear and heavy police presence outside of the rally venue where the shooting took place in Butler, Pennsylvania, according to reporting from CNN teams on the ground. The entire building located to the left of the venue is cordoned off with more than a dozen police cars, some of which are state troopers, and others that are part of the Butler County Sheriff's Office. There is at least one ambulance outside of the building. One officer who spoke with CNN would not explain why law enforcement was focused on this area. A shooter fired multiple shots from an elevated position outside of the Trump rally before United States Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter, the law enforcement agency said. During former President Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, on the evening of July 13 at approximately 6:15 p.m., a suspected shooter fired multiple shots toward the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue, the Secret Service statement said. U.S. Secret Service quickly responded with protective measures and former President Trump is safe. One spectator was killed, and 2 spectators were critically injured. This incident is currently under investigation. And the Secret Service has notified the FBI, Anthony Guglielmi, Chief of Communications for the Secret Service, said in a statement. Republican Senate candidate Dave McCormick, who was sitting in the front row at Donald Trump's rally Saturday, said he saw the immediate attack on the president and a person behind him who appeared to be severely injured. McCormick told CNN on air that the former president had just invited him on stage, when about a minute later he heard a series of shots, about 7 or 8 shots, just pop, pop, pop. It was all of a sudden just chaos. The Secret Service immediately covered the president, jumped on top of him, and the crowd immediately went to the ground, McCormick said. The Senate candidate said he looked over his shoulder and it was clear that somebody had been hit. People around the person were trying to administer first aid, he said, as it took several minutes for medical assistance to get into the crowd because it was so dense. But you can imagine with that kind of incident happening, it's very hard to know what's coming. It seemed like the shots were coming from my front, so the president's left, which makes sense why the person behind me was hit. But I'm not sure if there were also shots coming from the other direction, so as you might imagine it was chaotic and confusing in the moment, McCormick said. McCormick said he and all of the roughly 15,000 attendees in the crowd went through metal detector screening before they entered the rally. Trump rally speaker describes helping attendee who was shot. From CNN's Kate Sullivan, Rico Elmore, who was a speaker at former President Donald Trump's rally, described jumping over the barrier and putting his hand on the head of an attendee who was shot and bleeding. All we know is shots were fired and then I jumped over the barrier and put my hand on the guy's head that was profusely bleeding, Elmore told CNN as he left the rally stage Saturday night. The injured attendee was just a stranger, Elmore didn't know, he said. Elmore was visibly shaken up, with blood on his shirt, but said he was not harmed. He said he only saw one attendee hit and did not see what happened to Trump. Donald Trump Jr. said in a statement that he just spoke to my father on the phone and he is in great spirits. He will never stop fighting to save America, no matter what the radical left throws at him, he added. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger told CNN's Anderson Cooper, "We haven't seen this since Reagan, after the shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, on Saturday. It is mind-blowing," Goldinger added. "Maybe we got a little lackadaisical about it, that this wouldn't happen to a president or former president, but it's crazy. Sadly, maybe it's just the state of our current political situation." When speaking about Butler County, which is north of Pittsburgh, Goldinger said, "You just wouldn't even think it would happen, especially in where I live in Butler County. You would not expect this." As for the scene, the DA said, "I have been told it is chaos, and I can't even give you a number of people that are there. It is really crazy right now." Former President Donald Trump said he was shot and hit by a bullet in the upper part of my right ear. Trump said in a Truth Social statement he knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. "I want to thank the United States Secret Service, and all of law enforcement, for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country." Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. Vice President Kamala Harris said she was briefed on the shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. "Doug and I are relieved that he is not seriously injured," Harris wrote in a statement Saturday night. "We are praying for him, his family, and all those who have been injured and impacted by this senseless shooting." She thanked first responders and denounced the incident. Mayor Robert Dandoy of Butler, Pennsylvania, released a statement following the shooting at the campaign rally in his town for former President Donald Trump. "This is not the type of political discourse we want in our society," the mayor said. Dandoy, who did not attend the rally, added, "This kind of violence is unacceptable, in any situation, but certainly in this lawful exercise of freedom of speech and of politics in the United States." Dandoy said he has been in contact with his chief of police, who was on the scene, as well as other city staff members who were at the rally assisting Secret Service. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton released a statement following the violence at a Donald Trump rally in Pennsylvania. "Violence has no place in America, especially in our political process. Hillary and I are thankful that President Trump is safe, heartbroken for all those affected by the attack at today's rally in Pennsylvania, and grateful for the swift action of the U.S. Secret Service," Clinton said in a post on X. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger called the scene at Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally shooting chaotic. "It's really crazy right now," he told CNN's Anderson Cooper. He said he does not know the number of people who are still currently at the scene of the incident and that authorities do not have any information on the identity of the alleged shooter. Butler County, Goldinger said, is located directly north of Allegheny County, which is where Pittsburgh is situated. The county is about 65% Republican and is partially rural, he said. Former President Barack Obama condemned Saturday's shooting at a Donald Trump rally. "There is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't yet know exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt, and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery," Obama said in a statement. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg called the shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally on Saturday unacceptable. "Political violence in any form is abhorrent and unacceptable. I commend the Secret Service on their swift response, and my thoughts and prayers are with former President Trump and his family," Bragg said in a statement. New York Attorney General Letitia James also addressed the shooting, saying, "Violence is never the answer. My thoughts are with former President Trump and I'm wishing for his speedy recovery," James said on X Saturday night. President Joe Biden condemned the shooting at Donald Trump's rally and said, "There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's one of the reasons we have to unite this country," he said, speaking from Delaware. "We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this." Biden added that he's tried to get in touch with Trump, noting that the former president is with his doctors and appears to be doing well. Ohio Sen. J.D. Vance spoke briefly to reporters outside his home in Cincinnati on Saturday and said he's been told former President Donald Trump is doing okay after being injured at his rally. Shooting at Trump rally is being investigated as an attempted assassination. Pelosi condemns shooting. "I thank God that Trump is safe." Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi condemned the shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally on Saturday. "As one whose family has been the victim of political violence, I know firsthand that political violence of any kind has no place in our society," Pelosi said in a statement posted on X. I thank God that former President Trump is safe. As we learn more details about this horrifying incident, let us pray that all those in attendance at the former president's rally today are unharmed. Former President George W. Bush says he is grateful that former President Donald Trump is safe. Laura and I are grateful that President Trump is safe following the cowardly attack on his life. And we commend the men and women of the Secret Service for their speedy response, Bush said in his statement. Pennsylvania Sen. Bob Casey, a Democrat, has offered support to law enforcement as investigation to incident at Trump rally begins. I am monitoring the situation at President Trump's rally in Butler and I've reached out the state police to offer support, Casey said in a statement on X. Political violence is never acceptable and I am hoping former President Trump and all attendees are safe. Everyone in Butler should listen to law enforcement. The New York City Police Department is increasing its presence at Trump Tower and other sensitive locations out of an abundance of caution around the city after former President Donald Trump was injured during a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, on Saturday. According to a spokesperson for New York City Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor has been briefed on the incident. The NYPD will also increase security at 40 Wall Street, Foley Square and City Hall. Trump Tower in Manhattan is already under the watch of the NYPD, even though Trump seldom visits his former residence. Over the years, Trump Tower has served as a gathering place for supporters and opponents of the former president. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley condemned political violence and offered prayers for Donald Trump after he was rushed off stage after loud bangs were heard at the start of a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. This should horrify every freedom-loving American. Violence against presidential candidates must never be normalized. We are lifting up Donald Trump, the entire Trump family, and all in attendance in prayer, Haley wrote in a post on X. RFK Jr. calls for unity in wake of Trump incident. From CNN's Eva McKend and Aaron Pellish. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy is calling for unity in the wake of former President Donald Trump being rushed off stage by Secret Service at a Pennsylvania campaign rally. Now is the time for every American who loves our country to step back from the division, renounce all violence, and unite in prayer for President Trump and his family, he said in a post on X. Details on the incident at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, are still sparse, but Trump had blood on his face as he was rushed off stage following the sound of loud bangs. A spokesperson has said he is fine. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer issued a statement after the incident at former President Trump's rally, saying, "I am horrified by what happened at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania and relieved that former President Trump is safe. Political violence has no place in our country." House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said in a statement on X that he is praying for former President Donald Trump. "My thoughts and prayers are with former President Trump. I am thankful for the decisive law enforcement response," he said. America is a democracy. Political violence of any kind is never acceptable. Democratic Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro on Saturday condemned political violence and said he's been briefed on the incident at Donald Trump's rally. "Violence targeted at any political party or political leader is absolutely unacceptable," Shapiro posted to X. "It has no place in Pennsylvania or the United States. I have been briefed on the situation. At Pastatapolis are on the scene in Butler County and working with our federal and local partners." Donald Trump's spokesperson Stephen Chung said the former president is fine. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow, Chung said in a statement.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.